Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar for today. We'll get started in just a moment, but while everyone is still coming into the webinar room, I want to encourage you to find the chat questions area in our webinar box, and feel free to go there and let us know the name of your business and the industry that you're representing. It's always great to see who we have in the room today, as well as it'll help us make some of the examples that we may give a little bit more relevant to our audience here. So if you can find that chat questions area and just let us know the name of your business and the industry that you're in, it'll be really good to see those come through. Awesome, we're getting some responses. Thank you for that. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We've got a good number here today. Let me make sure everyone can see this. Awesome. All right, well, again, welcome to the SEO Masterclass series hosted by Local IQ. This is our third session, the third session in our webinar series. And today we're going to talk about advanced SEO strategies for your business. If this is your first time joining, welcome. If you've been to the other two sessions that we've had, it's great to see you back. A little bit about Local IQ. We are a multi-channel digital marketing agency, which means we don't just specialize in one area of digital marketing. We actually specialize in several, including SEO, PPC, paid social, display advertising, website design, and so much more. We are a part of the NewsQuest Media Group and more than 200 trusted brands across the UK. So even if you want to incorporate print marketing, print advertising into your marketing strategy, we can help you with that. And we have a pretty large team of professionals across our client services division. But on the left here, you can see very specifically some of our trusted experts who will be working very closely with your business if you choose to work with us, and they'll help you execute all of your SEO growth goals. Today, we are going to focus in on about six specific advanced strategies that your business can focus on to help you in your SEO strategy, just like an SEO pro. And those areas are advanced keyword research, topic clusters, featured snippets, schema markup, website speed, and then we'll round it out with analytics and insights. I'm Brandon Griffin. I'm the head of B2B marketing for Local IQ, and I'll be the facilitator for today's conversation. But I'm very happy to have one of our SEO experts live on the call. Mark, thank you for joining us today. Hopefully your day is going well.
Not too bad so far.
Awesome, awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mark is born and raised from East London. He is a guitar collector, a Formula One enthusiast, and he has worked in the digital marketing space for just about 5 years. And Mark, you've got background from not just SEO, we're going to talk about today, but you also have a lot of background as well in the web development, which is pretty much where all these technical aspects of SEO take place. So it's good to know that you've got that frame of reference on both sides of the house, the website as well as the SEO side. So thank you for joining us today.
Very welcome. Glad to be here.
For our audience today, if you missed, I mentioned this is the third session of our webinar series focusing on SEO. And if you missed any of the previous sessions, don't worry. Because all of them are available to watch on demand, even today's session. Within 24 hours after our session today, you'll get the recording of this webinar, so you can go back and replay it if you like, if we're going too fast, or you want to just slow it down so that you can actually follow some of the steps that we're going to talk about. You'll have access to it on demand. And also, we're going to try to keep everything to time, so if you have questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat just where you went to go and introduce yourself. And we've got colleagues in the background who are going to answer some of your questions along the way. And then as well, if we have time, we'll answer some of the questions at the end of this webinar in a rapid round of Q&A with Mark. But feel free, don't wait till the end, start putting in your questions in the chat. And we've got some colleagues in the background that are going to be taking a look at those throughout today's session. And just a quick recap, because I know this is the advanced session for our webinar series, and SEO does have a tendency to get really technical really quickly, but just want to put this slide back to help everyone remember that when we talk about this big topic of SEO, sometimes it helps to break it down into understanding that there are actually 4 pillars of SEO: technical SEO, content, on-page, and off-page. So typically, when we're working with strategies, you can put them into one of these different categories. But for more insight into the background of SEO, I definitely encourage you to watch session 1 of our series on demand. And so that way, if you need a little bit more frame of reference, you can definitely watch that on demand, and we can have it there. All right, so those are the housekeeping things. Let's jump in. Advanced strategy number 1 is advanced keyword research. So Mark, before we get into the details, what is the basic goal of keyword research?
Yeah, so properly researched and targeted keywords are going to be absolutely crucial for optimizing your website to rank higher in search engine results pages. You know, simply put, when people search for these keywords, your website's going to have a better chance of appearing for them in the results. So the main objective, you know, is to find keywords that people are using when they do go to a search engine, and to make sure that you are using those particular keywords on your web pages.
Got it. So as far as tools, we've discussed some other non-Google tools in our previous webinar sessions, but today, to go more in depth, we're just going to focus in on Google Search Console and Google Keyword Planner. Mark, what do we need to know about these and how to use them?
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, you know, start off with Search Console. You know, a lot of people are going to have heard about Google Analytics, and it's important to know that Google Analytics and Google Search Console are 2 very separate things. You know, Analytics is very much the raw data and the metrics, but Search Console, you know, it's another free tool from Google, and it helps people improve how their site performs in Google search. It'll give you loads of really good search stats. It'll tell you whether your website's mobile friendly or not, and it'll flag lots of other potential issues as well, technical issues. Through Search Console, you can also fix various problems. You can submit sitemaps. You can see what websites are linking to you and so on. And lastly, it will tell you about any security issues you've got, or any manual penalty actions that Google might have placed on your website, and you might not necessarily know about it unless you've gone to Search Console. So it's, you know, super useful for boosting how your site appears in search. You know, with that, Analytics is also a very handy tool. It tracks and studies website traffic and how users behave on a website. You know, give you details about page views and visits, and you know, if people leave quickly, which we know as bounce rates. You know, you can also see who visits where they're from, the device that they're visiting on, whether it be mobile, tablet, you know, desktop. So it makes it great for planning ahead and making plans, marketing plans for specific groups. Analytics can even track, you know, sales, events, and other custom goals that you set up for your website. Obviously, it's got a good reporting tool with, you know, lots of graphs and such to help businesses use that data to make better decisions, you know, as well as improve their presence and make their websites better for its users.
So Mark, with that said, focusing on Google Search Console, how can it be used for keyword research?
There's a few ways you can use Search Console in your keyword research phase. You know, you can find any low-hanging fruit. You can find keywords that are doing well and that you should keep as part of your strategy. But I think for today, we'll focus on how to use Search Console to find high-performing keywords that actually need a bit of extra work. So, you know, if a keyword has got a high amount of impressions, i.e., you know, how much it's appearing on the search engine when people search, but a low click-through rate, it suggests that you are ranking for the term, but you're going to be so far down the SERPs, as we call it, to win the searcher's attention. So, you know, you can find these terms within Search Console, and Search Console are going to help you. It's going to help you identify existing content that you've already got that you can optimize. A few little on-page tweaks can really help you to rank higher for on pages that you've already got and generate more traffic to your site. Actually, one quick stat for you as well is I think it's actually a lot higher than 2/3 of all clicks through to websites in the SERPs come from just the top 3 organic search results on Google. So you really want to make sure that that's where your business is going to turn up. So how do we find keywords that need this extra work in Search Console? So what we're going to do once we're into Search Console, we're going to click Search Results, which is under the Performance tab on the left-hand side of the overview page. And from here, you can choose a time frame at the top of the page of what you want to see. So we're going to go for 3 months because that's a pretty good time frame. If you choose a longer period, there's a good chance it could include data from pages that have performed well in the past, but are maybe not doing particularly well now or not quite so relevant. So 3 months is a pretty good sweet spot. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sort our list of keywords by impressions in descending order. So at the top, you're going to see terms that you are showing up in the SERP for, but you're not actually getting much or any traffic from. Some of these keywords are going to be probably too broad and a bit too competitive. So for example, content marketing agency or content marketing company. The more niche terms that you use with high impressions are going to be easier for you to rank because it's going to have a lower keyword difficulty score, i.e. you're going to have less competition. So as an example here, we've got the software as a service SEO keyword. So what we could do is we could look at that and say, okay, well, what can we look at if we're going to revisit the content that's using this keyword? One example might be that it might just no longer be relevant. It might be an old piece of content. So let's say the piece in question is a 2017 guide to software as a service SEO. That's going to be less likely to get clicks than a 2023 guide to software as a service SEO, because the title immediately sort of suggests that this is an older piece of information and it might not be relevant 6 years down the line, even if it is technically well optimized. It might not be necessarily an old piece or a dated piece. It could just be that you might be talking about this particular subject, but you've not used this keyword in the page URL or in the meta title, or it might be a poor meta description, which people are not going to click through if it's got a poor meta description. So there's plenty of little tweaks that you can use to sort of push underperforming pages that you've already got higher up in the SERP.
Yeah, that's a really good example, Mark. I think the next tool that you want to take us through is Google Keyword Planner. What do we need to know about that?
Yeah, so Google Keyword Planner is another keyword research tool used by advertisers, and it's based on Google suggested phrase terms as its primary foundation. It's going to help businesses discover relevant keywords for search campaigns to ensure that their ads get to the right audience. It also provides estimates for things like search volumes and costs from a paid perspective. But you can use this for an SEO purpose as well. In order to use it, you do have to have a Google Ads account. It's not a problem if you don't have one already. You can set one up in just a few minutes, really. You just follow the prompts, you enter some information about you and your business, and that's pretty much it, you're in. You don't have to be actively running an ad campaign to use the keyword planner. You just need to have it set up. So once you've got it set up, whether you've already got one or you've just set one up, your next step is going to be to log into your Google AdWords account, and then you're going to click on the wrench icon at the top of the page, the tools icon, and from here you're going to choose Keyword Planner. Now within Keyword Planner, you're going to see two different tools. You're going to see Discover New Keywords, and you're going to see Get Search Volume and Forecasts. So when it comes to SEO focused keyword research, these two tools alone are probably going to be enough to generate thousands of potential keywords, for you to start looking at. And one thing to note though is this is very much designed with PPC advertisers in mind. So there are features in the tool like keyword bidding features and such that are not going to be useful to you for the purpose of SEO, but you can just ignore them. So now you can choose a tool that you want to use. So in this example, we're going to choose Discover New Keywords. As you can see, the field above this tool says, enter products or services closely related to your business. The value that you're going to get from Keyword Planner is going to be large, massively based on the information that you enter here. So you want to be very careful, very strategic about what you're going to put into this field. Let's go start with keywords. There's a couple of tools you can use here. Start with keywords. These words and phrases basically describe your business. For example, it might be a weight loss business, so you put weight loss, or it might be a coffee shop, so you put coffee. So this is going to allow you to then access Google's internal database of keywords for different industries. Or the other tool you can use within this is start with a website. This is more designed for AdWords users, but you can sometimes find some solid keywords in here as well, using your site's homepage or an existing article from your website. So once you've entered your information into one or all of the fields here, we're going to click Get Results. But before I show you the results, let me quickly talk about the other tool you can use, which we mentioned previously, which is Get Search Volume and Forecasts. So this feature's, it's only really useful if you've already got a long list of keywords yourself and you just want to check their search volume. You can basically, wherever you've got it, you might have an Excel spreadsheet maybe of keywords that you've got, so you can just copy paste that into the search field and hit Get Started. But regardless of which tool you use, you're going to end up on the you're going to get the same results page once you hit that. The only difference really is that you're only going to get data on keywords that you've entered if you've used the search volume and forecast tool, and Google predicts how many clicks and impressions you'll get from the keywords that you've entered. But yeah, no, it doesn't matter which you've used, you're going to end up in the same place. And the search result page looks like this. Third step is to filter the list of keywords down to a smaller set of terms that are more suited to your business. Just get rid of the rubbish, basically. There's a lot of filter options available here, so you can filter, phrases that do contain certain words, or maybe even phrases that exclude certain keywords if you've already got pages that are heavily focused to other keywords and you're not necessarily interested in editing those right now. And you can even filter by average monthly searches, for example. And then the last step of this process is going to be ultimately choosing your keywords. There's dozens of factors really to look at, but in general, I think there's three main criteria. The first is going to be the search volume. This is quite straightforward. The higher the search volume, the more traffic that keyword can send your way. It's commercial intent. So generally speaking, the higher the competition and suggested bid, the easier that's going to be to convert that traffic into paying customers when they do land on your website. And finally is the organic SEO competition. Now, evaluating a keywords competition in organic SERP is going to take a little bit more digging. You'll need to go and look at the websites that are currently ranking on the first page for said keywords and work out how hard it's going to be to outrank them. But there's still lots of value in this. I'll give you an example. A client of mine that I've had a while ago, their main business model is basically refurbishing staircases, and they very much only used the phrase refurbishment across the whole website, and so they were missing out on traffic for people that are searching for staircase renovation or staircase repairs or staircase replacement even. So it's small little tweaks like this to possibly to existing content that can really make a large difference.
Yeah, no, a lot of good nuggets there, Mark. And I think that point that you just made with that last business is really important too, because sometimes as business owners, we're so into our business, we know the lingo, the jargon, the actual words to use to describe the materials of our products and such. But it's so important that through this keyword research process, what you're really doing is discovering not how you would describe your product and service as a person who's been around the product service solution for 20, 30 years or so, but how does that person, that customer, describe the product who doesn't even know that they need your product, your business as like the solution to what they're going through, right? And so they may use some really off words of description to try to find it. And so this keyword research process allows a business owner to discover what those words are, and then you can incorporate it into your strategy. So I think that's really important there. To our webinar audience, I know that was a lot, but remember, the webinar is being recorded, and you'll also receive these slides too. And you'll note that as we go through some of our strategies, you'll see some call outs here like this one, tips for conducting effective keyword research. If you click on that, it'll take you to our blog, which has even more in-depth information, background context for some of the strategies that we're talking about. So hopefully you'll find that to be very helpful. Also, if you have questions, feel free to go to the chat questions area of this webinar and put your questions in there. You don't have to wait to the end of our webinar to ask, and so some of our colleagues will get the answers to you. Okay, cool. So Mark, the next strategy I think is that of topic clusters. Strategy number 2. What do we need to know about topic clusters? First question, what are they?
Yeah, so topic clusters are going to be a really good way to put all the keywords that you've just found in the previous phases we just talked about, really put them to work. So topic clusters or content clusters, they're groups of web pages that they're used to establish authority around a particular subject, particularly in the eyes of search engines. So each topic cluster will have a pillar page, what we call a pillar page, which is a broad overview of a topic. And then from that one pillar page, there'll be cluster pages, which are linked to, and the cluster pages linked to and from the pillar page that cover all the associated subtopics. So the example we've got on the slide here, you go to a travel site, and there might be a topic cluster around Disney World holiday planning. And there's going to be lots of information you can find around that. So, how do you implement this strategy? So what you're going to need to do first is choose a topic to base your content cluster around. The topic should be broad enough to warrant multiple pieces of content being linked to that, but not so broad that this topic cluster is going to become, oversized and unfocused, and you don't really want to go down the rabbit hole of this content cluster links to another content cluster, and it becomes a bit of a mess. So secondly, you're going to want to conduct the keyword research around that topic base, as we've just discussed. I think Brandon's going to share some tools for that in a moment. But once you've planned out your topic cluster, you're ready to start creating and publishing, good high quality content. Generally speaking, it's a good idea to start with the pillar page. It's going to obviously provide a broad overview of the core topic and provide the foundation. You should definitely create it with the cluster pages in mind, but if you start with the pillar page, then you can create cluster pages at your own pace. Of course, the sooner you publish the content, the better. The sooner that Google's going to index them, you're going to start seeing results. But it's much easier to do that as opposed to doing it the other way around.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for that, Mark. And again, a resource here that's really good. How to use a pillar content strategy to market your business is available on our blog. And then I guess to talk about tools to use if you want to implement this specific strategy, it's answerthepublic.com is one, and also ask.com. If you go to either of these websites and you type in a keyword related to your business, related to your products, it'll give you back a lot of the who, what, when, how type questions that people are asking every day on search engines. And then you can use that as your business is brainstorming for different ideas for your pillar and cluster pages that you just talked about. So Mark, speaking of questions that people ask, that takes us to our third strategy, which is a discussion about featured snippets. And I think everyone has probably seen this, where you go to Google, you go to a search engine, you ask it a question, and then above all those website results, it gives you an actual answer, so that you don't have to go digging for the answer. So what do we need to know about this strategy?
Yeah, this is a good one, Brandon. So, a lot of people want to come, or say a lot of people, I assume basically everyone is going to want to come up as the number one result on a search engine page, right? But effectively, a featured snippet is essentially position 0. It always appears above the first organic result. There's also other sections like the people also ask, which is a little bit further down the first page. Google pulls results for this section from their algorithm, and there's nothing you can do. You can't pay to show up here, but it's definitely an organic SEO tactic. But yeah, back to main featured snippets. There's some general rules that businesses can do to help their chances of appearing here. So the first one is to add a what is heading. To start your featured snippet optimizations, really you're going to want to look for a place within your current content that you can add a what is keyword heading tag. This is going to send Google a signal that the upcoming text of the following paragraphs is going to be helpful as a featured snippet. We see countless examples of pages that get featured snippets through using this heading format. We've seen good success rates with it, replicating this strategy for our own clients. And ideally, this heading is going to be as close to the top of your content as possible. And then from there, the second point is going to be to define the topic in 2 or 3 sentences. You'll notice that featured snippets are always quite concise. They're never particularly long. So you want to give users as much information about the topic as quickly as possible. So the content you're trying to optimize, you've got maybe 3 sentences maximum. So the first sentence should really define the topic, and then from there, the second sentence or the third, if you're going to have a couple of sentences, have got to be 2 or 3 must-know facts about this topic. The third point is that you should never use your brand name in featured snippet text. Reason being that featured snippets fuel voice search, which is a bigger and bigger thing now with devices like Google Home and Alexa, etc. They're going to directly read what's in the featured snippet to people that ask it. So it means that the context has got to make complete sense, and that you can't use it as an advertising tool. So replacing your brand name with just some general language will give the content a higher chance of being a featured snippet. And yeah, don't use first-person language. Similar to the previous rule, using first-person language can definitely be a mistake, because the ramifications it's going to have when it comes down to voice search. So yeah, a couple of other little tips when it comes to FAQs. Definitely add FAQs to your website, 100%. Not just on the contact page, not even necessarily just a dedicated FAQs page, but you can add FAQs across all of your product and service pages, which is going to give those pages more in-depth insights to the customer, and Google's going to love you for it. And then once you've done that, you can add FAQ schema to your website, which takes us on to the next advanced strategy, number 5, which is schema markup. So schema markup is a very underutilized feature in website building. Over 90% of websites don't use it whatsoever, which is is a big mistake, especially when it comes down to search. So what schema does is it provides very specific details about your web page content. It allows search engines to display richer, more informative results for its end users. Google understands many different types of schema, and within each type of schema, there are literally thousands of properties that you can define to provide Google with much more context about your web pages. So we'll talk about some of the most popular ones. So logo markup schema is going to tell Google what your logo is. That way your correct logo is going to appear in your Google Knowledge panel every time someone searches for your company. Local business markup is extremely important. This points out the elements of your website that contain, contact information such as your address, phone number, email address, other specific important business details, and then Google will be able to then display that in the local business panel on the right-hand side of the results pages. And then a few that are especially crucial for e-commerce sites. So you've got review markup, which adds a star rating to the bottom of the result on the page, and also product markup, which gives Google more information about the actual product that's listed on your site, so that searchers can see more details actually on Google before they click through to your website.
Well, Mark, I think I never even really realized or even thought about, like, how does Google know where to get this type of information from, like the logo of a business, or some of this review type information that typically is like summarized on the Google results page. But and I definitely didn't know that there were like 32 different types of schema that businesses can use and incorporate in their website to basically almost use as like I don't want to say a cheat code, but it's a cheat code for Google to use in order to present the most appropriate information to the person that's searching for it. So I think that alone is a huge takeaway for our webinar audience. If they don't take anything else away, the understanding of schema markup and how that can be integrated into your website and help your whole fuller SEO strategy. I also know that when you start talking about schema and coding and that technical aspect, it can become really daunting, and it's sometimes hard for individuals to implement themselves. So definitely want to encourage the audience to take this particular topic and have it with your website design team, or if you need help with it, contact Local IQ, because we've got a website design team and we have SEO experts who work hand in hand with each other to make sure that the businesses are covered who want to implement this as it relates to the strategy. So thanks for sharing that one. We're almost near the end of our strategies. I think we've got two more or so. And this next strategy, number 6, is about making your website faster. And this is important because Google has confirmed that 53% of website visits are abandoned if a mobile site takes longer than 3 seconds to load. So people are not being patient these days. If your website takes longer than 3 seconds, they're going to the next website. They're clicking back, going to the next website that comes up in that search engine result page. And so the two things that are slowing websites down, Mark and I were discussing it, and I think the two things that slow websites down are images and videos. So I wanted to offer some tips there for everyone to take away. For images, I think the key thing there is make sure that you compress your images before you put them onto your website. I got a big nod from Mark on that one. Don't just take the picture with your phone and then upload it directly to your website. You definitely want to make sure you resize it. And Mark, I think you've used some of these tools before, Tiny PNG and Resmush it. Can you tell us a little bit about how you used those in the past?
Yeah, sure. So Tiny PNG, it's a really good website. It's entirely free, and it's an incredibly useful tool for compressing images really easily. So it will typically save somewhere in the region of 90 to 95% in terms of the file size. So if you put an image in there, let's say 1 megabyte, it's probably going to come out at like 50 to 75 kilobytes. And that's a huge difference when you think about loading a page up. That's one image, and that's a big difference. So yeah, Tiny PNG, absolutely fantastic, easy to use. Highly recommend it to put your images into and get them coming out nicely compressed, much smaller. If you're in a situation where you've got a website and you've already got thousands of images uploaded, and you don't want to go through the rigmarole of, I'm going to take all the images down, I'm going to get a new picture, I'm going to compress it, re-upload it. Depending on your CMS, there can be tools that you can use. So we've got Resmush It here. So this is a WordPress plugin you can use, which again is free. One of my clients, they've got around about 10,000 images on their website, massive website. And WordPress website, so we installed Resmush It, and admittedly it takes a while, but you can basically essentially click a button and instantly we compressed about 7,000 of those images, which on top of people's searching habits, page load speed is a direct ranking factor in today's Google best practices. So these might seem like really small things to do, but they add up to make a big difference.
Cool. And I think someone just asked a question, is it good to use videos on websites and to use YouTube? And that person knows exactly where we're going with this one, because as it relates to video, that's the next one here. And our tip is to use a video hosting service instead of just placing the videos directly on your website. And so for the first tip, the tip is to use a content delivery network service before you use YouTube, because when you use a CDN tool like Bunny.net or Cloudflare, it'll allow you to embed a video onto your website, but it gives you more control over the video player. So number one, when someone finishes the video that's at the top of your website, it won't automatically show other related or random videos that YouTube typically shows after a video plays, right? So when you use a CDN type tool, especially a video CDN type tool, it'll give you a little bit more control over that whole user experience. And when you use YouTube or one of these CDN type solutions, it hosts your video out on other servers other than your website. So it definitely helps your website load quicker, because it's not trying to pull all those resources from your local web server. A little technical, I know. But if you don't have the luxury of using YouTube or a video CDN type tool, you have to host it on your website, you can use a tool like Handbrake, and it will allow you to optimize your videos and resize them and compress them, so that way, even if you do have to place them onto your website, at least at least when they show up in view, they'll reform to the user's device. And so if the user is visiting your website on their mobile device, it'll show them the smaller version of your video. And if they're on a desktop PC, it'll give them the higher quality one. So you have some options there. So very good question that was just asked there in the chat. And then our last strategy that we want to talk about is talking about GA4 and Google Search Console together. So Mark, can you take us through this?
Absolutely, yeah. So the very first step before undertaking this kind of analysis is going to be connecting up your Google Search Console to your GA4. Once both are integrated, organic search results such as queries that lead to clicks to your website, or page ranking in search results, whatever, can be investigated further using GA4's analytics features. So once you've done this, you're going to see two new reports. You're going to see the organic search traffic report, and you're going to see the queries report. So starting with the first one, the organic search traffic report, it's going to show you landing pages that are linked with Search Console and Google Analytics metrics. Some people find this more meaningful to rename it to something like Search Console landing pages or something like that. But this organic search traffic report is going to include 4 SEO metrics. So it's going to give you your organic clicks, your organic impressions, your organic click-through rate, CTR, and also your average search position. And then in the other report, in the queries report, you're going to find search queries that are linked with the Search Console metrics we looked at earlier. Limitation here really is that you can only drill down the data with Search Console dimensions and not really with anything that's within Google Analytics. So back to the setup. So first thing to do to link these two up, from Google Analytics, you are going to look at the panel on the left hand side and go to admin and then property, and then underneath property you're going to scroll down a little bit and you're going to find the product link section. So you're going to select from here, you're going to click search console links, and then once you're in here you are going to click on the link and you're going to click on choose accounts. I think that's going to come up any second now. There we go. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select the property, which is the website that you want to connect to, by ticking the little checkbox on the left, and then we're going to click on confirm in the top right. And then finally, you want to make sure that you've selected the data stream, which is the website which is connected to Google Analytics, and click submit. Yeah, this should be the confirmation that you get.
Cool. Sounds easy enough there, but just in case, we do have this resource here. A while ago, we did a webinar talking about how to master Google Analytics 4, and we did cover the steps as to how to connect your Google Analytics to your AdWords account as well as Google Search Console. So if you want some additional help and resources to get connected in this way, just click on this link once you get the PowerPoint slide deck after our call there. And so that was our final advanced strategy there. Mark, thank you for taking us through all of those. Appreciate that. One thing I just do want to remind everyone that as we talk about SEO, we mentioned this in our previous webinars, it's worth mentioning here, is that SEO is a long-term strategy. So when you start thinking about the analytics and the insights and start looking for results, sometimes the results may take 1 month, 2 months, 3 months before you start to see it. But SEO definitely works well when you utilize other strategies to complement it, like paid search. And so having a PPC campaign and strategy running concurrently with your SEO strategy is really, really helpful. So that's the wrap up there. Just want to remind everyone that the recording is on its way along with the PowerPoint slides. Here are all the things that we covered today. And then also in the chat, I just sent it to everyone, a link to our free SEO website audit. It's a new tool on our Local IQ website, and it provides an extensive review of the most critical factors that search engines rely on when ranking a website. So when you go to that link that I just put in that chat, it's really quick. You just go put your domain name in, and then it'll give you a report based on 100 different factors categorized into 5 distinct areas: on-page SEO, links, performance, usability, social. So it's something that you can do now and then take away after this webinar to your team, because it'll give you some actionable steps and items that you can just begin to implement now, and then improve your SEO strategy just one step at a time, because I know that we talked about a lot and there are a lot of different ways that you can enhance, but it's really good to just kind of go there, do that report, and then use it as like an easy button, because it'll tell you some pinpointed areas that need some improvement. And Mark, we definitely covered a lot, and we've got time for maybe just one question, because I see that some of the questions were already being answered in the chat. So appreciate our team for helping through that. And let's see, if we don't get to everyone's questions, rest assured that we're going to answer all the questions on our blog after this webinar within 24 hours. And let's see. One question is, would it be good to make a 5-minute long video and add breaks to answer questions like the who, what, when, or where? And I think one of the suggestions, well, I'll give that to you, Mark. If a business is going to utilize video, should they have one long video or should they separate it out? What will work best?
I mean, either can work really. I think ultimately, if you've got, say, 5 1-minute videos or 1 5-minute video, you're not really, there's not going to be too much of a difference when it comes to, you know, how much bandwidth that's using on your website and so on. Shorter videos, especially with you know, younger generations, you know, in today's day, you need things to be quite short and snappy to keep people's attention. So if I was to go with one of the two, I would probably go down the route of having 5 smaller videos, and then maybe from an SEO perspective, you could then, you know, transcribe, you know, what's in the video, you know, underneath each one.
Yeah, I was going to say that that's really important from the SEO perspective to do that transcription under the videos, right? So that way you can make use of the headings, the what is, because that will definitely help what you were talking about as it relates to the featured snippets areas too. So unfortunately, that's all the time we have for questions, but we'll make sure that we post all the questions in our follow-up blog after our webinar today and get everyone the recording. So thank you to everyone, especially those who have attended all 3 of our sessions. We really hope that you were able to take something away from each of our webinars, and through each webinar, just kind of level up your understanding of SEO. Mark, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. I want to encourage everyone, as you exit our webinar, to fill out that quick survey and let us know how you enjoyed today's content. And then you can also raise your hand if you'd like to connect with a local IQ expert to help you with your SEO strategy. So until next time, again, thank you everyone for joining today's webinar, and we'll see you on our next one.